I got pregnant with my daughter Emma at 18. I lived at home and was going to college and working. When I got pregnant, my parents kicked me out and I had to move in with my ex. I dropped out of school and quit my job to take care of Emma because my ex told me he would support me. When I was 22, he was 24, he graduated law school. He told me I had to move out because he wanted to find a wife. My parents had forgiven me, so I moved in with them. We didn't have a court order, but we split custody pretty much 25//75 with me having more time. When Emma was 6, he married his now wife. She couldn't have any more kids and wanted Emma and her daughter to be sisters. Over the next 3 years, Emma spent less and less time with me. She'd throw a fit if I tried to pick her up. They gave her things I couldn't. When she was 8, she told me she hated me. I never blamed her for the lies her father put in her head, because even though I lived at home, I was in college and working and did my best to provide her for her, but obviously they could do more. They took me to court when she was 10 and surprise, the lawyer and his doctor wife with their $1 million home beat me in court. They painted me out to be this horrible parent and Emma backed them up. They got primary custody and I got visitation. But Emma refused to see me. I gave her money and gifts. But she didn't want me in her life. When I was 30, I met my husband. He is the most amazing man I have ever met. He's seen me struggle with this and been very supportive. He has a daughter Emma's age and a son who is 5 years younger. They lost their mom and were very welcoming and loving. They treated me like their mom. Emma made zero efforts to get to know my husband and stepkids. Emma and stepdaughter just graduated high school this past May. And my parents also recently passed and gave me their estate since I am an only child. I have decided to pay for my stepdaughter's entire college tuition and buy her a car, pay for an apartment. Emma contacted me a week ago and told me she missed me and wanted to see me. This shocked me, seeing as we haven't talked in a year. We met up and she told me she heard my parents died and asked if she could have some money to pay for college. I was shocked and said, "Well, what about your dad and his wife?" She said, "My mom and dad want me to pay for this on my own to teach me responsibility, and I believe I am entitled to money. Seeing as you ruined my life," I was very hurt and told her, after years of ignoring me and telling me I am not your mother, you demand money from me. I am not your wallet. My husband is telling me what I did was right, but my ex is telling me I'm a piece of shit and I owe this to her. My stepdaughter feels bad and offered her college money because my daughter and her friends have been harassing her. I said, "Absolutely not, that is your money." My boyfriend Steve and I have been dating for over a year and a half. I met him in one of my upper-level classes 2 years ago. At the time he was finishing up his degree, before moving on and working on his master's. Since we started talking, seeing each other, and dating casually, I really loved our entire relationship. Steve and I had a lot of similar interests, which included traveling. We did a small trip to South America a couple months ago for a few weeks, Peru and Chile. We had an amazing time. It was once we got back from our trip that I saw our relationship in a whole different way. We traveled well together, and bonded in a new way. I knew I was in a great relationship. I thought we had a great relationship, until I got some news a few days ago. 3 days ago, I went over to drop a MacBook charger over at my best friend's house, Chenille. Chenille and I have been best friends since we were in high school from the age of 16 years old. I have always considered her to be my number one and closest person in my life. I have noticed that the past 6 months we haven't hung out in the same capacity that we usually have. Both of us have been busy with our lives, school, work, relationships, etc. But I kinda got the feeling after this past year of university around April that she was starting to move away. She had a bad with her ex that lasted under a year. He cheated on her with a coworker, and the rest is history. They broke officially around the end of January. As I went over to drop off her extra charger that she borrowed, I talked with her mom for a bit. Chenille ended up getting called in to pick up an extra serving shift at the restaurant she has worked at during her degree. Her mom wanted to talk to me about a few things. I was puzzled. Chenille's mom was always really outgoing and funny. We had known each other for over 8 years at least. But she wanted to have a serious talk. Chenille's mom, Karen, went on to tell me that she saw Steve and Chenille sneak around the back of the house about a month or so ago. Karen went on to explain that she noticed this happening 2 other times. At first, she thought we were all hanging out. But Karen told me that she got a weird gut feeling on this situation. She told me that I should talk to Steve and Chanel ASAP. Steve and I were supposed to go out for dinner last night. He picked me up, and off we went. I felt really bad and humiliated the entire time we were out. We ate dinner, had a couple drinks, but we didn't talk much. Steve kept asking me all night what was the matter. I told him nothing. Finally, when we got back to my place, we sat in my room and I asked him and told him what Chanel mom, Karen, is told me. He didn't answer. In fact, he went pale white. That gave me the answer I needed. I broke down and Steve tried to comfort me. I didn't want him touching me. I didn't even want to hear it. I told him to leave, but I basically had to force him to leave. I tried calling Chanel and texted her that I needed to talk to her. I got no response. Not one. Basically, 2 of the closest people I have had in my life betrayed me. This is so terrible and I feel so bad. I have like no one right now. I gave birth to my daughter weeks ago. My experience was pretty traumatic, and since it was my first, I had no clue what to expect. When I went into labor, I had the most difficult time of my life. I was in pain for hours. My mom was with me, but she had to go, and my husband was with me the entire time. I did something so embarrassing in the delivery room. I pooped myself, which was unexpected and I don't know, but it was embarrassing, and although my medical team were very professional about it, my husband couldn't help himself and started laughing about it later and even telling my family about it, but they didn't react. Just didn't find it funny, and neither did I. In fact, I found it embarrassing, and I already told him to stop bringing it up, especially when he started joking about getting me diapers for my opsies. It got really tiring and chipped away from my self-esteem and confidence. We were with his parents celebrating New Year's Eve together when I excused myself to the bathroom. While I was getting up, he made a quick remark and said, "Oh, yeah, you should go quickly because we don't want any accidents just like the one we had at the hospital, you know what I mean?" While blinking at me. His family actually laughed and brother-in-law commented, "Good one." I was astonished and so angry and ashamed. I literally just lost it on him and yelled at the top of my lungs, calling him a cruel and sensitive jerk, to be using the difficult experience of birthing his child as a joking matter and humiliating me in front of everybody. He was shocked, staring back at me and not saying a word. All went silent and I just stormed off to the bathroom till we left, and that was when he snapped, saying I messed up by talking to him like that in front of his family during dinner. I said I couldn't hold my tongue for that long, and after he kept joking about an embarrassing thing when I told him to stop. He said he was just joking, and I went overboard with my reaction, and also, I should have sucked it up and waited till we got home so we could address this privately, and I could even yell at him as long as I wanted. We argued about it after we got home, and he kept saying I humiliated him in front of his family during the celebratory evening by being petty and trying to one-up him. He even said I should have laughed along, not fly off the handle licks that. I was dating my boyfriend for 2 years. We didn't live together but lived on the same street, and I was always over at his place. We each had kids from a previous relationship, so I wanted to take the whole living together thing slowly. But we were together all the time and I just maintained my own residence. He commuted for work, and I knew his department got a new secretary. She was younger and married and had recently had a baby. I knew they were work buddies, and I even bought a birthday gift for him to give to her. After about a year, she moved to another state. My boyfriend and I decided to move in together, and we lived together for a year when I found out that he and that secretary had some type of non-physical but still romantic relationship while they were working together. And that is why she ended up leaving, because they both realized it was not appropriate. I stumbled on old emails between them that were strange, calling each other pet names. He was calling her baby and sweetie in work emails, telling each other that they couldn't wait to see each other at work, meeting up in the cafeteria for coffee every day. He told her he loved her. She lamented that she couldn't stop thinking about him while at home. They had little quarrels. I also realized that he was still Facebook friends with her. We talked a lot about this, and he said he was just so unhappy at work at the time and unhappy with our relationship, because we didn't live together, that he was vulnerable to attention from a beautiful woman. He said it never became physical, but they were very emotionally entangled at the time for many months. I had no idea at all. He said together they decided the best thing was for her to accept another job offer, which he helped her get. He's very remorseful sometimes. Other times he will tell me that it's partially my fault because I rarely stayed over. I was doing everything for him to help him out because I knew how busy he was and how stressful life was for him back then. He will also try to tell me I was too cold. I've tried to move past this. I told him he needed to delete her from Facebook, and he did. It's been over a year since I found out, but I still feel so much hurt and anger if I think about it, or if something triggers me. Even something as stupid as a movie where the man is hooking up with his secretary. It's been over a year of anger, fighting, hurt and drama. The man I thought I was with is not the guy who would speak to his married secretary like that. Should I just give up? I'm tired of feeling this way.